What is up, everyone? Movie back again with another video. Today it's going to be another end of month vlog where I just talk about all the movies and TV shows that I watched in the month of April 2025. Now I'm sorry I haven't done a video in a while. I have got a stack of Blu-rays there to show off, but I'll do that very soon. Just waiting on one more to come through the mail, so hopefully I'll have that video up soon. And I hope to do more videos on this channel. I'm really sorry. Life has just been getting in the way lately. It's really time consuming having two kids, and especially when they don't sleep. I mean, like you're constantly tired all the time, but their sleep pattern is getting a little bit better now. So fingers crossed I can have more energy and stuff to come back and do some more videos. But I've also been doing a lot on the horror channel. I'll leave the link down below if you guys want to go and check that out. But you know how these videos work if you've been around here long enough. Now I just want to say thank you so much to all the new subscribers that came from Euphoria Pictures, Keith's channel. I was on his live stream the other day and I got about 15 subscribers just off that live stream. So Keith, thank you so much for having me on, mate. I really enjoyed it. It was a great 4.5 hour stream. If you guys would like to go and watch the replay of that, I'll leave it in the link down below as well, alongside the horror channel there. But Keith's such a great guy. Get over there and give him a sub. I'm sure you've all heard of him already. But if you like your physical media, you will not be disappointed at all, I promise. So like I said, guys, we're just here for the end of month vlog video. So let's just get into it now with the first thing that I watched in April. First up, we do have Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Now, this came to digital and I think Blu-ray. I haven't picked the Blu-ray up yet, but I did watch it on VOD. And this is another movie by Jagged Edge Productions, who brought us the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey films, of course. And this is one I've been wanting to check out, but it only got a limited release at the start of the year in the US only, I believe, and select cinemas. But once it came to VOD, I jumped on it. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, but I liked it enough. And a lot of people just said that was the worst movie ever and stuff. I got a kick out of that film. I liked the second one much better. I thought it was much better in production value and everything. So I had that kind of high hopes for this one, even though they were on a more moderate level to other movies like blockbusters and stuff. And this is a very grounded take on the Peter Pan story. I mean, there's no fantasy involved here or anything. Pixie dust and stuff is a form of drug that they take. As you find out later on in the movie, the character of Tinkerbell is in here, but not like you would ever think that they would do a Tinkerbell character. It got all the Peter Pan lore in there and stuff, and all the stuff that you expect from the movie of the fantasy side of things, just put in a more grounded take. And this is basically about Peter Pan, who's this villain going around basically killing kids or kidnapping them and wanting them to take them to Neverland, what he calls it. And that will be revealed more on later in the movie, with this Neverland place in, if you like. And it's a very disturbing, dark movie, quite depressing at times, quite sinister. But I like movies like that. I like pure horror films. And it just sort of goes down that route. There's no comedic value in there or anything like that, although some people would say that they should do that with these movies. I was kind of on that train until I recently watched Screamboat. I'll talk about that next month. But kudos to Jagged Edge for keeping to their principles and wanting to do a more dark and grounded take. There's some scenes in there where children are killed. I mean, they're not fully on screen or anything, but there's enough implied there to kind of make it upsetting for some people. Like I said, it's a very dark movie, but the guy who played Peter Pan, I thought he'd done such a good job. He was a great actor. Definitely took inspiration from Buffalo Bill, you can tell. But overall, I thought this movie was fine. Probably on par with the second Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey film. It's not going to blow you away or anything, but if you like them type of movies, I would say give this a go. And we've got more to come, haven't we? Pinocchio and Bambi and stuff. And then this ensemble that's going to take place. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that, even though people will say these are a quick cash grab. I think Jagged Edge are probably doing the better job of all these public domain characters up to now, especially when you see the last three Popeye movies. God damn. So yeah, that is Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Next up, we have 825 Forest Road. This is from director Stephen Cognetti, and he made the Hell House movies. And he is one director who has managed to scare me on more than one occasion with the first Hell House movie and the last Hell House movie. And now you better make that 3 occasions, because there were moments of this movie where I was quite terrified. And I'm not usually scared by movies at all. But instead of being found footage, this is more like a straightforward directed movie with a little bit of a twist on it. And what I mean by that is the story is about this haunted town, not house, this town, which makes it a little bit interesting when we get into what these characters are searching for to do with this town and the whole sort of legend of it and stuff. And if they search for this certain thing that's wrong with the town, bad things happen, basically. I won't say too much more than that, but what I like about this movie is it's taken from 3 different characters' perspectives. So if you think of the movie from Ridley Scott, The Last Duel, you can see when each side of the story might be slightly different, or basically this is what this movie is doing. It takes a moment and we see one character leading up to that moment, then we will go back and see another character that leads up to that moment, come back and then see the 3rd character leading up to that moment. And it's so good the way it unravels, and there's this mystery involved and everything. But there were really some scary scenes involved in these moments. And Stephen Cognetti just knows how to do the scares. He can work mannequins very well as well, as you will see in this movie and his Hell House films. They're always creepy mannequins, I think. But I thought this was a very clever movie. This has got some rotten reviews on Letterboxd, some terrible scores. I don't get it. This is one of my favourite movies of the entire year. It's in my top 10 so far, and it's just a little Shudder original there. But I thought he'd done such a great job of this, and I really, really enjoyed it. Some shoddy acting from some of the characters there, but for me, this is one I hope they release on Blu-ray, because I will buy it in a heartbeat. So yeah, 825 Forest Road, the little dark horse of the year so far. And I had a great time with it, so I recommend checking it out if you're a horror fan. Next up, we have Shiver Me Timbers, and going from one of my favourite movies of the year to one of the absolute worst. I've seen all 3 Popeye movies that were released this year. They were released within a couple of months of each other, but this one is by far the worst. It's actually my 2nd least favourite movie of the year so far, so you'll probably see it in my bottom 10 ranking or whatever, or on my horror channel when I do my horror ranking. But this is basically, it's about this old guy who, let me rephrase, it's about this meteor shower. Yes, I don't know why the story goes into that so much. I don't know if this is a whole thing to do with the Popeye cartoon. I never watched Popeye back in the day or anything. But yeah, it's all about this meteor shower that's coming. And these characters go to this outback to watch this meteor shower together, get stoned, drink, have sex with one another, the usual slasher tropes that you get with these characters. And there's this old guy there who's got this pipe, and this meteor comes down, and it's about this size, the size of a pea or something, and it goes into his pipe and transforms him into Popeye, this big muscly dude. You know what Popeye is, or who Popeye is, and he goes around and goes after these campers one by one, trying to kill them. But it's directed so bad, like every 5 minutes it will just need to show us the meteors in the sky. Even when things start to get going, it will just cut away and we'll look at this 2D graphic in the sky. The acting is terrible. I hated every single character in this movie. The main protagonist girl was okay, but couldn't save the movie whatsoever. Popeye looked terrible. I don't know what this CGI thing they were doing with his face was, but oh my god, it was just a horrendous film. The kills kind of get you through it as a slasher fan, but even them aren't anything to write home about. The biggest positive I could probably give this movie is that there was some fun at the end, the last 5 minutes, the sort of climax, and the nods to old horror films like The Evil Dead and stuff. But also the runtime is only 72 minutes. So you're not going to be here for very long if you're not liking this movie, which is, I didn't at all. And I usually like these silly movies, but this one, it was just not good. The dialogue is one of the worst things about it. When you hear the characters talk, they rip off famous quotes from Ferris Bueller's Day Off and stuff, but they're trying to be serious. And yeah, not a good movie, guys. I recommend missing this one out. That is Shiver Me Timbers. Next up on 4K, we do have The Substance. Yeah, picked this one up lately because it came out in April, I believe, and I'll probably be showing this off. Well, I will be showing this off in my DVD, Blu-ray and 4K update haul. This is actually on 4K. Yeah, I seen this last year at the cinema. Absolutely loved it. It was at a Scream Unseen where I got to see it a couple of weeks before release, and I was blown away by it. And I watched it with my wife because she has not seen this movie, but she's heard me going on about it. And I actually thought it might have been better even more a second time. I think this is a fantastic film. It's got lots of great social commentary in there about people aging in the Hollywood industry and stuff, and how they're replaced at the drop of a hat. And it basically sees Demi Moore's character, who loses her job at the age of 50. She's like this TV personality, and she finds this drug on the black market which will make her a better, younger version of herself. And that better, younger version is played by Margaret Qualley. And there becomes a little bit of a head-to-head between these two characters because they've got to swap bodies every 7 days. And the Margaret Qualley character is just loving it too much and doesn't really want to swap back. Now, things start to go a little bit array with that, and it turns into a little bit of a body horror film. And if you haven't seen it, guys, I highly recommend checking it out. This is one of the best, if not the best, body horror film I've ever seen. I absolutely love the performances from Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. Demi Moore especially. Dennis Quaid's in here, who is just a disgusting character. And I thought it was fantastic. All the body horror looks brilliant. Brilliant practical effects and stuff. And it's just a great little story. So yeah, highly recommend this, guys. I'm going to have to check out Caroline Fargay's other movie, Revenge, because I haven't seen that, but she's done such a great job with this. So well directed. So yeah, highly recommend this one, guys. That is The Substance. And this is my older release of the month, even though it only came out last year. Speaking of Dennis Quaid, we do have his son starring in a movie that came out this year, and that is Novocaine. And I was really looking forward to this. I thought it looked really fun. It's all about this guy who has this ability to not feel pain. Or should I say this? You could call it a disability, but some people would probably love to have that disability. I don't know. But if you couldn't feel pain, it could basically make you do things that other people can't, I suppose. And it's sort of like a mini toned down superhero movie, if you like, because I believe this is a real condition as well. But Jack Quaid's character sort of falls for this girl, and who works in his work. He works in this bank, and the bank is taken over by these robbers, and they kidnap this girl he's got the hots for. And it's all about him going to get her back and take revenge on these people who basically robbed the bank that he works in. And it's some really cool, like, awesome death scenes in here and stuff. It uses the sort of disability that Jack Quaid's character has to full potential. There's one point where he'll just put his hand in a pot of boiling water to grab, like, a knife that would drop in there or something. And yeah, it's just a fun movie. Now, this isn't one that's gonna blow you away or anything. It's just a fun 7 out of 10 action movie. I don't think this has been the best year for movies, but this is definitely one of the better ones up there. I'm really looking forward to seeing Jack Quaid in more stuff now, because I thought he'd done such a good job in this, and I love him in the Scream movie and stuff, and Companion that we got earlier this year. I just think he's really got a high ceiling there, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. I'm sure he'll be in the MCU or something soon. Unless he already has been, I can't quite remember. But yeah, Jack Quaid done a good job in this, and I really enjoyed it. There was a moment that happens in the story later on, kind of like a twist. I wasn't quite buying that. I kind of wish they didn't do that, but it didn't stop my enjoyment from the film or anything, and it's still wrapped up on a good note. So that is Novocaine. Next up, we have Shadow of God, another Shudder original. Now, this is a movie that I really thought started off well and then just fell off a cliff. This is basically about this priest who is doing an exorcism, and the priest he's doing it with dies during this exorcism, and he finds out that night that there was like 6 or 7 other exorcisms around the world, and each one of them had a priest die. So it's kind of like this demonic uprising that might be happening, which is just such a cool concept. Also, his father died many years before, and he goes home after this exorcism, just sees his father there on the street, and he can't quite believe it. And his father has been alive for all this time and says, "You need to do an exorcism on me because there's something inside of me and stuff." And it's such a cool concept. However, that concept was just not really fulfilled or executed very well. And the movie just fizzled out, and it's got so many religious undertones in there that I don't quite get on board with. I mean, I'm not really a religious type of horror movie fan. Um, when they're done well, I can appreciate them. But this one, I just kind of didn't get where it was going. It became a little bit too much, too ambitious, too many things happening. And the third act just dragged on way too much with these poor special effects and stuff. Yeah, it just couldn't fulfill its potential. I thought the guy who played the main priest done a great job, but I just lost interest in this movie, and I was just waiting for it to end, put it that way. So, look, if that interests you, that concept, maybe check it out, but don't get your hopes too high because it just doesn't execute it very well, in my opinion. So that is Shadow of God. Next up, we have The Florida Project. Yes, first time watch for me. I've heard a lot of people say that they love this movie, and yes, I agree. This was a great film. This is another Sean Baker film. I've seen 3 movies from him so far: Anora, Red Rocket, and this. And I gotta say, I think this might be my second favourite. I think Red Rocket is the best, but Anora is really good as well. This is a director I've really got my eye on now. I hope there's no glare there, guys. I'm really sorry. I can't really see the camera. But when I do my Blu-ray updates, I'll be turning the camera around so I can see it. But this basically is a Sean Baker movie, and I just really got my eye on him now. I really want to check out Tangerine, but I'll be keeping my eye out for any movie he does. Lots of his movies, or in fact all of them, I think, centre around sex workers, believe it or not. But this is about a apartment block in Florida where people who have the most money and stuff live, and William Dafoe's character is the boss or the manager of this whole apartment block, and he is basically trying to keep everyone happy and maintenance on the hotel and just trying to run things and make sure everyone is okay and stuff. And I think he's such a great character in this. But I love how the film shows how constantly busy he is all the time. His head's wrecked. I mean, there's always something going on in this apartment block that he has to tend to, and he doesn't get a minute's peace. Meanwhile, he's got this kid running around. Sorry, a bit of a biscuit in my mouth then. Sorry about that, guys. He's got these kids running around who are just causing mayhem, and one of the kids' mothers lives in this apartment block, and he's always got to go and have a word with her and stuff because this kid is just running amok. And it does go down some sexual routes involving this kid's mother and stuff like that. And it's basically, it's not really like the most explosive story in the world or anything, but you just fully grip for it from start to finish. What I think Sean Baker does really well is realism. He's kind of like Shane Meadows, but the American version, if you like. He just gets great performances out of people who have never even acted before. Like the main woman in this, I don't think she's ever acted in her life before this movie. I couldn't believe how amazing she actually was in it. But the young girl as well, what a phenomenal young actress she was. She's like 6 years old or something like that. I mean, the realism that he portrays in his movie is just done so perfectly, and it feels like you're there. Now, there's some funny moments in this. There's some, like, you connect with the characters as well. You know, you really want the best for them. I highly recommend this film, guys, and it's all taken from the sun-soaked streets of Florida. Like, nearly every scene is lit up with amazing color and the summer sunshine, and that's what he does. He takes slices of America and makes stories out of them. Like Red Rocket's in Texas, this one's in Florida, Nora's in, basically, was it Las Vegas? I can't quite remember. A lot of the film is, but yeah, Florida Project, absolutely fantastic movie. Highly recommend. A wonderful film. It really is. William Dafoe is the standout character for me. That is The Florida Project. Next up, we had Death of a Unicorn, maybe the most star-studded movie I'm going to speak about here. It's got Jenna Ortega in, Paul Rudd, Martin Kemp, is it? Who's the other guy? Oh, I forgot the guy's name. Oh, I'm really sorry. He's off the movie Wild Bill, and yeah, Will Poulter. I knew I'd get it. Who's the standout of this movie, by the way? But this basically sees Paul Rudd and his daughter, played by Jenna Ortega, going to do this business deal. She's just along for the ride, really. Paul Rudd's going to do this business deal. On the way, they hit this unicorn that just runs out in the middle of the road, and they find out that this unicorn's blood can be the cure for cancer and other diseases. Like one point, a little bit of blood goes in Paul Rudd's eye and his vision is cured and he doesn't have to wear glasses no more. So this Martin Kemp's character, Martin Kemp, is it? Or Richard E. Is it Richard E. Grant? I'm getting mixed up here, guys. I think it's Richard E. Grant. Yes, Richard E. Grant it is. Sorry about that. Alright, got them characters mixed up there. He is basically wanting to... He finds out about this and he wants to do an even bigger deal with this unicorn blood. And Jenna Ortega is kind of against her. She thinks the unicorn should be left alone. And then the unicorns come for a little bit of revenge because their family member has been killed in this car accident. And it's, yeah... blood and gore ensues, and it's not really a horror movie until the third act. It's more of a comedy, but it wasn't even that funny at times. However, it's still a very enjoyable film. But it's like, yeah, it's like a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I don't think Paul Rudd was all that great here, to be honest. Jenna Ortega was great as usual. Paul Rudd just didn't really have the comedic side going for him there. But Will Poulter absolutely steals the show. He was by far the best character in this film. But yeah, I mean... it went on a little bit long. It was like 2 hours long. I didn't think it needed to be that at all for such a stupid, simple story. But it was interesting enough, I suppose. So yeah, not one I'm going to be rushing to rewatch or anything, but it was fun enough. That is Death of a Unicorn. Bit of a weird one up next. I did watch Gladiators. Now, it's very, very rare I watch live TV or like ITV, BBC or whatever. But my God, man... I love Gladiators, and I watched the first season last year with my wife, and we absolutely loved it. And we finally got to this one, and yeah, the final was this month. So this is just such a great show. I love seeing the Gladiators and all the personalities they have, especially Legend, who is just absolutely hilarious to me. But it's just fun seeing the challenges that the contestants have to get through, going up against these big bulky gladiators and stuff, and it's just so fun. I mean, all the contestants this year as well had great personalities. I like nearly all of them, and they introduced some new gladiators, some new games as well that were really fun. Yeah, I mean, it's just a very easily digestible show. But yeah, I mean, not much more to say on that. I used to watch it in the 90s, and I'm so glad they brought it back. Season 3 is coming next year, and I would absolutely love to apply for that, but so there's way more fitter people than me that are going to go in that show. But yeah, Gladiators, loved it. Can't wait for season 3. Next up, we do have this 5-film box set, and I watched the first 2 last month, but this month we do have Final Destination 3. I'll just move this over here so you can see the poster. Yeah, one I used to rewatch as a kid. I remember really liking this one. It's a lot of people's favourite, actually. This is the one with the roller coaster at the start. And it basically just follows the same plot. A load of friends about to board the roller coaster. One of them has a premonition that it's going to crash, and they all get off and it crashes, and then death comes after them one by one in the most gruesome, creative ways you can think of. And yeah, look, these movies are really fun. We've got the 6th one coming out this year, so that's why I'm going through them all again. And this one's got Mary Elizabeth Winstead in, who is one of the best protagonists in the entire franchise, alongside Alex there and Clea Rivers. I think she does such a good job in this. You know, there's some great deaths, like the sunbed scene. I mean, that's probably the best death that isn't involved in one of the openings in the entire franchise for me. Seeing them girls burnt to a crisp, my God. I know people who say they're still terrified of sunbeds even today because of that. But the roller coaster scene starts awesome as well. But there's another load of great creative deaths in here as well. I like the way they do another premonition scene on a train at the end of the movie, because the first one struggles to end. Like, it's basically Alex just going to fight an electric cable that's about to kill Clea Rivers, and he's like wrestling with it. It's not really the best third act now, is it? But what else can you do against an invisible killer? So I'm glad they try and bring another big epic scene at the end of this movie on the train and stuff. So yeah, Final Destination 3, really fun movie and one of the best in the series. So that's Final Destination 3. Next up, we do have A Drop, which sees this widow going on her first date in a very long time. And while she's there, she gets these message drops in this restaurant saying that she has to do certain things or her kid at home and the babysitter will be killed. And she gets a message saying, look at your CCTV, and there's a guy with a balaclava in her house holding them hostage and stuff. She basically got to do everything these messages tell her, and they're telling her to do all sorts of things that make the date feel awkward and stuff like that, up to eventually killing her date. And it's just such a tense film. Like, tension is constantly rampant. You're always thinking what he's going to ask next, how awkward the date's gonna get and stuff. Well, because she's not allowed to tell the guy, and she can't make it obvious, and she's got to stay put. So I thought that was a really interesting take. Kind of reminded me of the movie Red Eye. Got a lot of inspiration from that, I feel. And whilst this movie is really fun, the only problems with it really is that you have to suspend your disbelief a lot, because you're like, would that really happen? How did that really happen? Yeah, that's just kind of lazy writing there. But it's not on the level of M. Night Shyamalan's Trap from last year or anything. But yeah, you do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit. However, I was having such a good time with the movie that I was kind of willing to just let it go a little bit there, because it was winning me over. I was really enjoying it. Thought it had two great performances from the central characters. I'm really sorry I forgot their names. I'm really sorry. But yeah, just a really, really good thriller, and one of my favourites of the year so far. So that is Drop. Next up, we do have The City Is Ours. Now, I was putting this off a little bit because I am actually from Liverpool, and it had Sean Bean in it, who I think is a wonderful actor, by the way. But he was like the kingpin of this crime syndicate in Liverpool, and I was like, did the makers really know what they're going for here? Because would that really happen? Would this guy from Sheffield be running the whole of Liverpool? I don't know. But I also went in for the casting of this to hopefully get a part on this show. Obviously, I didn't get it. But I read a few of the lines in the script that I had to rehearse for. And I was thinking, I don't know if Scousers really talk this way. So that was another thing that was kind of putting me off. I thought, do the makers of this show kind of know the city and stuff? But so many people said that they liked it, so I give it a shot. And my God, I friggin' loved this show. This is my new release of the month. My wife really wanted to watch it as well, so she sort of pushed me into this. It's very kind of rare I watch TV shows, even though I've got Gladiators in here. It's kind of rare I watch TV shows like this. I have to really get in the mood for it. But this has James Nelson Joyce is his name. James Nelson Joyce, who is making a bit of a name for himself now, even though I totally forgot his name for a second there. What was he in? He was in all like the other BBC dramas, like Little Boy Blue and stuff. Time, which I've actually reviewed on this channel with Sean Bean in, believe it or not. And he is like the second in command to Sean Bean's character. And it's basically about him living the criminal life whilst trying to get pregnant with his girlfriend and balance all of that life. Try not to lie to her too much and stuff, while stuff really does kick off in the background. And Jack McMullen is another character in this, who's Sean Bean's son, who is a great sort of gangster type character in this movie. I think he is such a good fucking actor. And I would love to see him in more stuff. There's so much potential for that guy there, even though I believe he's been in quite a lot leading up to this, but I would love to see him in some Hollywood roles now. I just think he's such a good actor. Definitely the best actor in this show. James Nelson Joyce was also awesome as well. The first couple of episodes, I was like, I'm not quite sure about this. But you get into it, and it just sort of delves deeper and deeper as it goes on, gets into more sort of criminal activity and how the criminals work. The stakes are raised, and there's one moment in the last episode where my wife literally just went because something sort of happened there. But yeah, The City Is Ours was absolutely brilliant. So many fun characters in this. I really love Bonehead. I thought he was a great character. But yeah, fantastic show. Absolutely loved it. Really hope they do a season 2. Definitely check it out, guys. It's on BBC iPlayer. This City Is Ours. Next up, we have The Amateur, starring Rami Malek. And I gotta say, the movie was not as good as the trailer hyped it up to be, but it was an okay movie. I just didn't really get what I expected from it, mainly because I thought it was going to a big high octane action film, and it's not quite that. This sees Rami Malek, whose wife is killed, and he works for like the the sort of the government who do stuff behind the scenes and stuff. And he says, look, I want to be trained up so I can go and kill these guys who've killed my wife. And everyone sort of laughs at him and stuff, thinking he's like this feeble guy, this fragile guy who couldn't hurt a fly. But anyway, he goes on this training stuff and goes out there to basically seek revenge. But what I like about his character is he's more of a smart person, and he kind of uses bombs and stuff instead of going around with a AK-47 trying to kill people. He uses his brain to sort of kill these people and get revenge and stuff. And I think that was a cool idea because he is sort of the fragile guy and stuff. And I think Rami Malek was cast perfectly for that type of role. The only problem with it is you'll see like an action scene after a big hour of build up, and then you think, okay, the action's going to ensue now. But then in about 15 minutes, something else will happen where nothing is really action sort of stuff is happening. And then we'll get another one, and then it'll stop again. And it sort of loses pace as the movie goes on. And it was quite long. I think it was like over 2 hours. Yeah, I was just like, okay, you're losing me a bit here. So I just kind of wish when we got into the second half of the film, it just didn't stop. But overall, it was okay. I didn't love it. It's probably one I'll never revisit again. And it was quite forgettable. That is The Amateur. Next up, we do have this box set again, and we have Final Destination 4, otherwise known as The Final Destination. Just a quick one, guys. I've reviewed all of these on the channel. Well, I've still got part 5 to do. I'm going to be doing part 6, but the first 4 movies are reviewed on my horror channel. So I'll leave the playlist down below if you want to go and check out my full spoiler thoughts on the Final Destination movies. But I'd heard, this was a first time watch for me, this 4th one. I'd heard so many bad things about it, like it was terrible, one of the worst movies ever made and stuff. And I didn't think it was quite that. I quite enjoyed it, even though it's the worst one. There was still some fun to be had. And it was only 82 minutes long, so if you go into this not enjoying it, you don't have to stick around for very long. But the whole way it suffers is the special effects and the CGI, because there's so much 3D involved. Like, this was made for 3D at the cinemas, and you can just tell these moments are made for 3D a mile off. But this basically involves a group of characters going to a racetrack, and the cars crash, and car parts are flung into the crowd, and the stadium collapses on everyone, and one of them has a premonition that it's going to happen, so they leave, and death comes after them one by one. Some fun kills in here. The woman who gets a pebble, some guy on a lawnmower goes over this pebble, and it shoots that far because it, shows the pressure and goes through this woman's eye like a bullet. What else was in this movie? What other kills do we have here? There was like this escalator kill where a woman sort of falls down the escalator and gets mangled and stuff like that. So yeah, there was some fun kills in there. There's no story. This one has got the least story more than any. It's just kill after kill after kill for 82 minutes. And if that's what you want, you can probably have fun with it. But yeah, Final Destination 4, the weakest one, but I still enjoyed it to a certain amount. I would watch it again. So that's fine. I don't know why it's called that. The Final Destination. Next up, we have everyone's favourite movie of the year so far, Sinners. And this was number 1 on my list, but now it's number 2, just because of something I watched in May, which I'll speak about next month. But Sinners, yeah, great movie from Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan as these 2 twin brothers. And they basically are coming back to their town where they used to live with this load of money, and they want to open up this blues joint and have the biggest opening night possible. So they get all these people who can sing blues music and stuff, and their cousin, who's this upcoming blues artist, to sing that night, and they invite the whole town. And when they get to when the whole thing happens, you might want to fast forward a bit now, guys, if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, but this is all in the trailer. So 3, 2, 1. If you haven't fast forwarded by now, sorry. But yeah, on the night, a load of vampires descend and try to take these people out one by one. And that is very reminiscent of Dusk Till Dawn. In fact, it was my biggest problem with the movie. It was too like Dusk Till Dawn, but it's still a great film. Great characters in here. Every side character brings personality. Even the ones with the smallest screen time, you remember them because they're so fun to be around. They're interesting. Michael B. Jordan puts a great performance in here. Probably the performance of his life, playing Stack and Smoke, these two brothers who are feared brothers, but they kind of fear, even though they're both different personalities, if you like. And the whole vampire sort of thing, when that happens halfway through the film, elevated even more for me. Like, that's when the movie got better. Jack O'Connell plays like this head vampire. I thought he was a great villain in this. I really liked how the vampires looked. You know, they're not over the top or anything. They've got cool ass fangs and just glints in their eyes, but that's it. It feels like a grounded vampire story in this grounded world of 1930s Mississippi. And I love films that take place in the American outback and stuff. And Ryan Coogler captures the cinematography perfectly. It's such a good looking film. I think this is going to look awesome on 4K. And I will be picking it up because I really want to rewatch this again. I think I'm going to like it a bit more a second time. But Sinners was awesome. It was overhyped for me. I still give it 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, but it was way overhyped for me. Like, I was going in this expecting one of the best movies of the year, even though I tried to keep my expectations low. You can't help yourself when you hear people say it's one of the best movies in decades and stuff. Wasn't quite that, but it was still a great film. And yeah, Ryan Coogler, looking forward to seeing what else he can do with Michael B. Jordan in future. So that is Sinners. Next up, guys, is the final film of this box set, and that is Final Destination 5. Yes, first time watch for me again. This one sees a bridge that collapses and kills a load of people. One of them has a premonition, of course. Same old story. They survive the bridge crash, and death comes after them one by one. And this one had a bunch of better characters than the fourth movie. I forgot to mention that the characters in the fourth movie were probably the worst bunch of characters. These ones were a lot better. I think the whole bridge collapse was awesome. Great opening scene there. Some great kills in here, especially involving a laser eye surgery and stuff. You won't want laser eye surgery after seeing this film. What I loved about this movie, more than anything, is how clever the ending is. Now, I'm not going to say spoilers or anything, guys, if you haven't seen it. But when that happened, I was like, holy shit, what an ending there. So, yeah, another fun movie in this franchise. This might be up there now. We'll see how part 6 turns out as one of the most consistent horror franchises for me, because even though lots of people hate the fourth movie, I really liked it. So put it up there with Scream, Evil Dead, and Aliens as one of the most consistent. I don't think there's really a bad movie in this so far. But like I said, we'll see how 6 turns out. That is Final Destination 5. Next up, we have Hell of a Summer, directed by Finn Wolfhard on his directional debut with his friend, I think his name's Billy Bree, who I'm not too familiar with. But they also star in this movie, and it's a throwback to 80s summer slasher films with a lot of comedy thrown in. Like, don't go into this expecting a full slasher film, because there's so much comedy thrown in that the horror is kind of like 20% of it, and the rest is 80%. But that doesn't stop it from being a fun movie, and this sees 2 camp leaders who are expecting camp counselors to come the next day. And whilst the camp leaders are staying at the camp, they are killed by this killer. And the camp counselors turn up with no camp leaders. And there's this one guy who's like 24 years old, who's probably too old for summer camp now, but he just loves the life of a summer camp. He loves being there, and he thinks that destiny has chosen him to be the camp leader, and he's sorting out all these activities he can do. He's running the camp. He's in his element. This is what he was destined for in his life. This is his goal, and he's there. And he is just loving every single minute of it. And I thought that was a really fun character. You know, I forgot the guy's name, I'm really sorry, but he was just so funny in this. And all the other kids are making fun of him, going, aren't you a little bit old to be here and stuff like that? But he's taking it deadly serious. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of kills going on by these, not even the greatest looking, it's not the greatest looking killer, put it that way. The kills are off screen mostly, apart from 1 or 2. So slasher fans will be disappointed with that, especially if you love your gore and stuff. But it was still a fun movie. I'm looking forward to see what Phil Mulhart and Billy B can do in future. They are obviously fans of 80s slasher, and they are doing a callback here. But Hell of a Summer was a fun film, and I would watch it again. So that is Hell of a Summer. Next up, we have Dead Male, a real surprise from Shudder, another sleeper hit of the year. Now, this sees this guy in the opening scene who is crawling out of this house with a letter saying, "Help me, I'm at this address." And he posts it in the post box and then is dragged back in by the kidnapper who's just noticed that he's escaped. And then it's all about this guy who works at the post office who has to track down Dead Male, where there's no address or anything like that posted to it. Hence the title Dead Male. He's trying to find out where this guy is and where this letter has come from. However, other people have different ideas, and I can't say too much more than that. But this movie is also taken from 3 different perspectives. You've got the kidnapper, the guy who works at this post office, and these 2 women who are trying to investigate the whole thing that's been going on as well. But that is leading on from events that happened before it, so they come last in the whole perspective thing, if that makes sense. Now, this is made it's made now, but takes place in the 80s, and it's not that fun type of 80s feel that you get kind of like from Stranger Things or something, or I don't know, when they're trying to bring the 80s back, it's more of the dull side of the 80s, the more depressing looking the side of the 80s. Like the post office looked like the most depressing place in the world and stuff like that. And you got to remember, the 80s probably wasn't always this fun, colourful vibe, now was it? As much as people try to have that nostalgia with it, it wasn't always like that. And this movie captures that perfectly. Such a grainy, gloomy looking filter on it that totally works. The movie is kind of based on music and musical instruments. I'm not going to get too much into it why, you'll just see it as the story unfolds. But there's lots of synths thrown in because of that in certain scenes, and they just work. I thought the performance of the kidnapper guy especially was great. So yeah, Dead Male is one you should see if you like horror. I was really surprised by this. It took me about 20 minutes to start to really get into the movie, but once you do, the story unfolds and it's written really well. So Dead Male was a great film. I highly recommend it, especially, if you have Shudder, definitely check it out. Next up, we have Until Dawn, based on the video game. I'm a huge video gamer, but I have not played Until Dawn, even though I own it. I just never got round to it. There's a backlog. If you're a video gamer, you will know that there's a massive backlog of video games that we all have. But this one, I watched about 30 seconds of the trailer, went, yeah, that's for me. Don't need to see any more. I'm going to go and see it. My wife sat there and watched the trailer, and she went, yeah, I want to see that as well. Look really fun. It's about these bunch of characters who go to this house to find out where this girl went missing, one of the main character's sisters. And they go there, and they are all killed by this guy in a mask. And the guy looks awesome, by the way. One of the best things about the movie is the guy who's like the slasher villain. But then they wake up back at the start of when they first walked in the hotel. And they have to figure out a way how to get out of this continuous cycle before they are killed again. And they've got to get until dawn, hence the title, to survive. If they reach till dawn, they will get out of this house. But all these different types of monsters, not just that slasher guy, are trying to kill them one by one. And yeah, it was a really, really fun concept. I think the movie tries to do too much and becomes a little bit too complex in the second and third act, when it started off really well. I just didn't think they could execute the concept all that well. The characters aren't that memorable. I like the girl who was in the Hellraiser reboot, but everyone else was kind of forgettable. There's just one guy who's a total asshole. The practical effects were quite good, actually. There was some great gore in there and stuff. But it was just one of them movies that felt like a typical Blumhouse film. Now, I know this wasn't Blumhouse. It's actually Sony property. But that's what it felt like. Just a very generic horror movie. That's exactly what it was. And I believe they strayed from the source material of the video game, which never really works now, does it? Stick to the video game formula. A lot of fans were pissed about that, and I can probably see why. I haven't played the game, of course, but they do it with the Resident Evil films and everything. Just stick to the damn story. That's why you're churning out this movie anyway, because this great game's probably got a great story. Look at the Last of Us TV show, sticking to the formula. That is Until Dawn. And last up, guys, we do have Alex Garland's Warfare. I think he co-directed this with another guy. I'm really sorry I forgot his name. But yeah, this one, not your typical war movie. This hasn't really even got a story or anything. This is a situational type movie. This basically says this is what this certain war is like. The war in Iraq it is. And we're just going to put you into this one situation that happened in this war at this one time. And you're just going to go with it for 90 minutes. And it's basically a bunch of characters holed up in this house as these terrorists sort of close in on it. And that's basically the entire film. Now, there's a lot of tension that ramps up in this movie. There's a lot of great characters, and they feel like, even though you've been plunked into them, they feel like a little bit of a brotherhood there. And you kind of just thinking, what the hell is going on here? Like, where's this going to go? What's it ramping up to? And the sound design and everything is incredible. Like, there's this one car bomb that went off, and I couldn't believe how good the sound was. One of the best sounds I've ever heard in the cinema, to be honest. But it wasn't really for me. Now, I'm not really typically a war guy anyway, but I did want to check this out with it being A24 and Alex Garland. There was a director I don't mind. Didn't really love Civil War, but yeah, I think he's interesting. You got Joseph Quinn in there and Will Poulter, who I spoke highly of, Death of a Unicorn. But by the end of the movie, I was just like, yeah, fine. I'll never watch that again. It was more of an experience than a movie, put it that way. A lot of people will love this film, will think it's so well made, so well done, but it just really wasn't for me. It wasn't my type of movie. So don't go into this expecting a big action epic, because it's not that. There's a lot of waiting around and stuff, but it's done for a reason. It's meant to be how war actually feels. At the start of the movie, it says this movie was made by the memories of those who were there. So yeah, warfare, it wasn't bad. Just one I'm not going to remember too much, unfortunately. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this end of month vlog. What did you think of these movies? Sorry there wasn't too much Blu-ray content there. I watched a lot of new stuff this month. There was a lot of new releases. Hopefully watch some more Blu-ray content next month. Let me know what you guys think of these movies. It'd be great to hear from you. Please give this video a like and subscribe if this is your sort of thing. Look out for my physical media haul. That'll be coming soon. Don't forget to check out Keith at Euphoria Pictures live stream. I'll leave all that good stuff down below, alongside the horror channel and stuff, and more of these end of month vlogs if you want them. Thanks so much guys. You take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.